It often happens at a minor annoyance, a failed plan, a blunt comment, or even just a gloomy day suddenly overshadows everything else. Just yesterday you had goals, dreams, and plans, but today it feels like the world has shrunk down to this one problem, and it feels massive. We often fall into this trap. We give a temporary event the power to define our entire state of being. We look at our lives so closely that we stop seeing the system, turning every minor bump into an insurmountable wall. Why is our brain so skilled at blowing details out of proportion? And how can we learn to regain a true sense of scale when it feels like everything is going wrong? Let's dive in. When we lose our sense of scale, an instinctive urge to draw broad conclusions often arises. In psychology, this phenomenon is referred to as generalization. Essentially, it's an error in perception. Our brain takes a small detail and applies it to our entire life experience. It can be hard to notice this in ourselves because this mechanism disguises itself as common sense. But it has very clear markers, words like always, never, constantly, or everyone. If someone doesn't reply to an important message, we don't think they're just busy. We think, I always have bad luck with people, or no one appreciates me. We take a single point and draw an infinite line through it, crossing out both our past and our future. The danger here is that we stop seeing a specific task we can solve and start fighting an unfair destiny that only exists in our heads. While generalization makes a problem infinite, the second mechanism, catastrophizing, makes it fatal. This is when we start playing fortune teller, and the future is always a horror movie. This is the case where our internal screenwriter takes a spark and instantly fans it into a global wildfire. We didn't just make a mistake in a report. We see ourselves being fired, losing our livelihood, and watching our entire stability crumble. In these moments, the brain ignores reality and all the middle ground possibilities. It jumps straight from point A to point total collapse. We start reacting to this imaginary horror as if it has already happened. Our body believes the image. The heart races, palms sweat, and we fall into paralysis, even though in reality, we're still just sitting in front of a monitor with a single typo. At this point, you might ask, why does our brain do this to us? Actually, it has a very good reason that dates back thousands of years. For our ancestors, catastrophizing literally saved lives. It was much safer to assume a rustle in the grass was a tiger and panic instantly than to philosophize about the wind. Those who didn't catastrophize simply didn't survive. Our brain is an efficient survival machine, but it's stuck in the past. We are still running software designed for lethal threats, but we're applying it to modern realities, deadlines, or social media comments. We continue to burn a massive amount of energy fighting ghosts just because our internal security guard is overly sensitive. To finally break free from this evolutionary software, I suggest performing a simple audit. Right now, try to look back at your own personal timeline over the last few years. Recall the moments when you were absolutely certain, this is the end. That failed project, that argument that felt like the point of no return, or the news that kept you awake for weeks. Now, look at those events from where you are today. How many of those catastrophes actually became one? More than likely, you'll find a graveyard of false alarms. You'll see how many resources were burned fighting a future that never arrived. We get so buried in the details of a current crisis that we stop noticing the most important thing. We mistook a random disturbance for the collapse of the entire journey. We stared so intently at one broken gear that we believed the entire mechanism had stopped. But time passed, and it turned out that the space of our lives is much wider and more resilient than that tiny detail. Life continued because it is always larger than any single loud episode. How do we learn to zoom out in the moment? The secret lies in localization. As soon as you catch yourself using words like always or it's over, try to force the problem back within its real boundaries. Ask yourself, is this a whole life problem, or is it just a problem of today? Look at the situation through the lens of time. Will this event matter in a year? How about in 5 years? If the answer is no, it means you're looking through the binoculars from the wrong end. Your task isn't to forbid yourself from feeling, but to strip the problem of its magical power over your future. Once you define the boundaries, this is just a bad conversation, or this is just a temporary issue, you regain control. And there is one more thing to remember. In a state of panic, our brains only paint the most primitive, dark scenarios. But life is far more ironic and multifaceted than our imagination can conceive. It loves to throw us options we never even considered. Often, what we call a failure today turns out to be the most fortunate turn in hindsight. We just can't see the whole picture yet. As cliché as it sounds, everything happens for the best, and this only becomes clear with time. So, when your internal screenwriter starts filming another horror movie, remind yourself, I don't know the future. And perhaps, right now, everything is changing in my favor. I just haven't realized it yet. The moment you allow for the possibility that life might be kind to you in the most unexpected ways, panic loses its power over you. The ability to step back and see the big picture isn't just a psychological trick. In a world that constantly tries to make us panic, it is a true privilege. It doesn't mean becoming indifferent. It involves learning not to let every minor setback affect your well-being. Next time it feels like the sky is falling, just take a breath and ask yourself, am I really seeing a catastrophe, or am I just standing too close to the wall? Sometimes, all we need to find our peace again is simply to change the perspective.